Hello, all you wonderful people. It is great to see you. We're going to be getting started here in a minute. We've got a load full of people coming in today. So we've got some updates that we're going to talk about. We are also going to talk about some additional checklists, and we're also going to talk about some releases and some documents that you might want to have signed by your clients to limit your liability. And I'll have examples of that. And if you'd like, we will be able to send that out. We're also going to talk about certification, about COVID, and the kind of things that your team should be aware of and that you want to know that they know. Because the most important part is to limit your liability by having educated professionals. And if you don't, then that's going to sometimes look like negligence. And we know that there's a lot of attorneys out there right now just licking their chops, because sooner or later, there's going to be massive amounts of lawsuits. And a lot of times they'll do co-enjoinment, which means that they'll prepare class action suits. And so the worst thing that can happen is that you get dragged into a litigation because of a classification. So having said that, I'm gonna take you over to our screens. So this update now is a little bit more of a, I don't want to say litigious, but it's a little bit more due diligence. And I'll give you some updates as to what's been happening with the individual states themselves. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and do some screen sharing with you. I'm going to take you over to, all right, so now everybody should be on the same page. And hopefully Johnny will get here and he'll tell me, Dad, you didn't do this, but we'll see. All right, so we started this journey. Hey, Johnny, how are you?
I'm doing good, Dad. How are you?
Oh, good, good. I'm glad you're there because you're my counterbalance. You tell me, well, Dad, we don't see your screen. This is about my, I don't know, my 30th webinar. Oh, you know what? I might make some mentions before I begin. First of all, for those of you who attended our financial webinars, the PPP webinars and the CARE webinars, just a couple of updates on that. Number one, seems like everybody's got their $1,200. Number two, for those that have applied in the state of Illinois and got rejected as an independent contractor or a 1099 and or as a independent owner, you are responsible to refile, because they finally got the software up about a week and a half ago, and now you should be entitled to receive some compensation going back to probably March 14th or March, whatever the date was that you officially closed up. We had one gal who did get compensated all the way back to March 6th, and which is great. So you got to do that. Number two, the PPP, which is the funds that you could have applied for, there's still about $100 billion available. So if you haven't done so, go ahead and do so. And I know that we applied for our businesses, we received funds, you will receive funds. Remember, as we did the program, we talked about how in the 8 weeks, you had approximately 8 weeks of salaries that you could pay. Plus they gave you actually an extra 2 weeks so you could have some other kinds of expenses covered, such as rent, utilities, but you couldn't do marketing and advertising. You couldn't pay pass-through rents. But what we're hearing now, and what we're seeing, and what the Congress is trying to do is to modify it, to change it, to extend the amount of weeks, and also to maybe minimize the 75% going to salaries, to bring it back down to 50%. And obviously, the IRS got in the middle of it, and the IRS was saying that they were going to start taxing any of the forgiveness. They weren't going to go along with the forgiveness. And now that's been under control, and Congress has been putting them in place. So there's a lot of good things that are happening if you haven't been really astute to it. And maybe we'll do one more webinar coming up in the near future to kind of wrap up, or at least keep you on the guided path of what's going on there. All right, so let's go to Georgia. Georgia is my bellwether. Why my bellwether? They were the first state to open, and they opened in spite of what everybody said, and even in spite of the president. He wasn't real happy with them, but they went ahead and did it anyway. So they were able to open up their salons, their gyms, and their bowling alleys, and other activities like tattoo parlors and so on. So we're going to take you to the first one. And we talked about this last week, but this is still going on. People are scared. The reshaping of American consumer, it begins. And as you hear people talking, they're afraid. For example, they're getting distance. They're planning out the layouts of the planes. They're laying out different kinds of configurations in restaurants right now. And approvals come when the state comes in to evaluate it to make sure that they're doing the appropriate things. Last week, we talked about one of the first malls to open in Chicago, in Florida. It was open on May 4th. The particular person that was interviewed is a fellow named David Wright. He has a small arcade inside the mall. The mall is like the Mall of America, huge mall. And he was saying that back a week ago, it was about 10% traffic. Traffic's built up now. He's about 25% occupancy, and he's doing better. But remember that an arcade, other than dropping your kids off there, it is maybe high risk. Your hands are all over the place, touching all kinds of other things. He's got these standing stations all over. However, it still is a high-risk category, and it's not essential. Getting a haircut is essential. Getting your makeup done or buying more makeup is essential. All of those things are essential. This is not, and that's why he's probably 10%. Others that have opened are booming. Okay, we're following along with what's happening in Georgia. So first of all, the mayor was very concerned. She didn't want to open. She was concerned because so many people, they're going to go back business as usual, get their hair done, get their nails done, and what have you. Okay, 4/24/20 when they opened, 900 deaths, 22,000 CV cases. 5/4, 1,174, 28,000 cases. 5/11, 1,444 deaths, 34,000. Now, if you look at this, because I had to do a seminar on Saturday for our students, if you look at the difference, it was pretty ramped up, like 275 people passed away, unfortunately, over the week before on 4/22 to 5/4. But then as you noticed, we had another increase there at 5/4 to 5/11, and all of a sudden now we see the decline. And so there was 108 deaths that occurred between that 5/11 and 5/16. And now here's where they're at. All right, this was just released yesterday with Kemp, the governor. 378,000 that were tested and performed in Georgia, and the percentage of people testing positive has dropped to 10.2. Also, they're now saying that it's approximately 0.19, which is less than 0.2% of the people passing. And so if you look at the grand scheme of things, that's based on 100,000 people. So with 100,000 people, it is 19 people are passing, which is, I mean, not even as bad as the flu, not even as bad as many of regular diseases like cancer, heart attacks, etc. Now, the mayor's voice was very concerned because, as she said, hair salons and whatever, manicures, pedicures, business as usual. She was also concerned that there are so many virus problems, and it happens to be affecting the Afro-American community, and there's a beauty salon and a barber shop on every corner. Well, you know what? On Oak Street, if I went from Mag Mile to Rush Street, there's 26 salons on Oak Street and more coming. And my granddaughter, Anastasia, and also my grandson, Zach, they worked at Cheney's. And they were, they were amazed at how many professionals were on that street. Well, it's not uncommon. Everybody needs to get their hair done. Everybody needs to get their nails done. I agree. All right. I hope they continue. All right. So there was a fellow who opened. His name was Tim Timmons, and the owner, he had to follow the guidelines. And the reason why we call it the bellwether state is because the guidelines of Georgia were set up in such a way that they actually are being emulated by most of the states with little add-ons. Like we're going to be listening and hearing in the next, I would say no more than 3 to 5 days, what's going to happen in the state of Illinois. We just heard it. We just saw all the regulations that came down here in Florida. And every state that's allowing it to open will have their own set. And, like they all talk. And I'm not saying that they steal from one another, but they all share the information. I took a look at Texas. In Texas, they had a few more things that were added to Texas that weren't in Georgia. But we'll use Georgia as an example. So anyway, what he had said is that when the clients arrive, they're doing the temperature checks. At the same time, if anybody has traveled or has had anyone in their family, they're actually asking them questions. They're wearing masks and shields for services. During shampooing, they're putting towels over the individual's faces, and they're checking to make certain that when the client leaves from the hair division, that they are actually discarding the masks and the gloves in a trash bin outside, because they are supplying to the clients masks and gloves. Okay, that's great. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we're seeing such a decline in Georgia. They never had a real outbreak, but they're having a decline as what it is right now. But it is hard for some businesses to maintain distance. And this is a young lady, and it sounds like somebody I was talking to yesterday in Chicago. Savannah Stratford is opening her salon in Savannah. And she says it's going to be really difficult to maintain the 6 foot of distance, because in her particular salon, they have 5 other stylists. Also, they have an esthetician that has a separate room at the end. And she's concerned that people walking in and out of the esthetician room is just walking right past all of the individual stylists. And as she says, she is afraid of raising risks. Well, to mitigate that, she said, we're going to be vulnerable. My clients will be vulnerable for infections. None of us are being tested. How do we know who's got it? We're not tracking. And I don't want to take part in spreading this risk of individuals' lives. So staying home gives us a greater chance until the numbers go down. And so far, the infections. And so she didn't want to open. So she did not open in Savannah. She just opened last week for the first time. Now, there are some folks that may not open because they're not comfortable. There are some stylists that don't want to come back because they're uncomfortable. And by the way, if you're on the PPP program or any one of the programs, if a stylist said they don't want to come back to you because they feel uncomfortable, they don't want to come back because they might catch it, it's not valid with the unemployment office. The unemployment states that if you are offered a job, if you were furloughed, if you were laid off, and you are re-offered the job, you can't say, I'm uncomfortable with people being in there. If the protocols are being followed and all the other necessary things are being followed, they must return. If they don't return, you're obligated to notify, particularly if you took any funds, you're obligated to notify the unemployment offices that they are refusing to return. And you simply send them a certified letter offering them the position back, and they take it back or they don't take it back. Now, some of them who are part-timers, and I've heard from people, I had some folks saying that they had 12-hour staff members that were filling up at the front desk, and now they're getting $600 a week, plus they're getting unemployment, not much from the state. They don't want to come back. Well, of course, why would you want to come back when you're making $700 or $800 and you were making $150 before? Well, it's understandable, but hey, we have to get back to normalcy, and we can't be draining the federal government, even though we'd like to. Okay, here's an example. Tommy Thomas giving a haircut. None of the other barbers are scheduled in with the exception of the last one. And that what he did is he did 4-hour schedules, 4 a day, 4 a day, 4 a day, so they could cover the first two, him and his other partner, but then they had an additional, I believe, 3 and 3 that came in at the different times. Okay, here's the head of Georgia, cosmetology, barber, operations, Kay Kendricks. She is the one who was very happy that the governor opened, because 95% of licenses in the board, most all are independent contractor of some source or some basis, and they have to have money, have to have income. All right, Restoring Illinois. We are going into, hopefully, May 29th, phase 3. If everything works out right and our magnificent, wonderful, unbelievable governor, the governor of the state of Illinois, approves it. Little Lord Fauntleroy, the country club brat. Anyway, that's my opinion. Anybody who buys their office for $175 million because you were left $10 billion by your family called the Hyatt, and you never really held a job in your life other than giving a title, and never really been in office, and you were the guy that ratted on Blagojevich from the standpoint that you wore a wire and you recorded him, right, by saying, hey, I'll give you money for that. And Blagojevich simply says, I don't need your money. I'm going to get the money from someone else. In fact, if they want to offer it to me for my campaign. And unfortunately, that's a violation. But my opinion, the guy was baited into it. All right, last but not least, gathering of 10 people or fewer are going to be allowed. Face coverings, social distancing, and a whole full schedule of what's going to be happening. So manufacturing, offices, retail, barbershops, salons can reopen the public with capacity, as you saw there. Now, I have a friend who has a very large salon up in Glenview. He has like 25 stylists. So what he's doing is he's subdividing the salon with a back entrance and a front entrance. And he's putting in a temporary wall. And the wall is going to allow him to have clients coming in the front and clients coming in the back. So he's going to have actually 2 operations because he has 2 separate shampooing area, and he can actually sequester it separately. So 10 people, think about it. They say 10 people in an office. Well, what if my office is 50,000 square feet? What if I have offices and I have 3 floors of offices? I certainly could put people on all 3 floors. So think about your configuration, what you need to do. If it's co-shared, if it's a suite rental, what is necessary to run your business. Okay, let's move on. So here are some of the top level guidelines that are being used by the Georgia board, and it's being used by other boards as well. I'm sure Chicago or Illinois will have the same, Wisconsin, Michigan, God forbid if they ever open. All right, temperature checks. Salon should have considered using touchless infrared thermometers to check the temperatures of the employees each day and of each client who enters the salon or shop, and employees or clients who have a temperature above 99, all right? My temperature normally is 96.5. That's what it normally is. If I run 98, I'm starting to get achy. If I run 95 or 99, I want to go to bed. So I think everybody is different. And someone was talking to me about, what about people that get overworked or it's hot outside or whatever? I said, fine, we'll test them when they come in and then say, you know, you tested 99. Why don't you sit down? It's warm outside. Let's give you a cold glass of water, relax for a second, go out in the vestibule area, and then we'll retest you. That's the best you can do, because you don't want to be complicit and you don't want to be considered negligent. And I'll explain that in a bit. Okay, screenings. You got to ask them questions. How are you going to do it? I'm going to show you some ways that we're going to do it. So you might like that format and you might want to follow it. And at the same time, it allows me to implement a release. I want a release from every client, right? Have you had a cough or fever? Have you been around anybody exhibiting the symptoms in the past 14 days? Are you living with anyone who is sick or quarantined? Give you an example. One of my employees, 3 weeks ago, her husband was aching, had a little bit of a sore throat and a cough, but he was going to work. He worked in the steel mills. I don't know what his position is there, but in any case, The next weekend, which was warm, believe it or not, Chicago warm, about 2 weeks ago, that weekend, he was out, he was working around the house, cutting the grass, whatever. During that week, she said, since you don't feel good, why don't you just go to the medical facility inside your workplace and ask them to, check you out. Well, they gave him an automatic CV-19 test, automatically come in there to see them. He got back to work on Monday, he tested positive, all right? He tested positive, called his wife. She came in, Johnny got her organized with all the documentation that she needed to work from home, and she went home. And she has asthma, sometimes she coughs. People are saying, oh my God, she was coughing. Well, she always coughs, so don't worry about it. Anyway, she's been at home now almost 2 weeks, and she has not had any effects of it whatsoever. And I will tell you, if anybody could have it, she could easily have it since she always has some types of colds. All right, moving along. Limit the people in the shop, salon, spa. We should consider seeing clients by appointment only. I would minimize or eliminate walk-ins. I have a big problem. I have a huge problem. I probably service 125 men a week at my school. And men, they don't make appointments. So I'm gonna have a big problem. I have to adjust to this and figure something out. We've got a few things on the drawing board, but it's a problem. So we'll talk a little bit later about this, but limited number of people in the waiting area. It is recommended that clients wait outside spa salon shops in their cars. So it's curbside service. It is recommended that the people not be serviced in the salon spa that are not getting service. So if somebody accompanied somebody, normally you would say, well, sit down and wait. In this case, can't sit down and wait. We actually have to ask you to go wait in your car. Okay, maintaining social distance, spacing between persons in the salon should be at least 6 feet at all times. Salon spas should consider additional spacing between booths, dividers, room shields or shields, and alternative work schedules. Think about the alternative work schedules. I got a couple laid out for you today. Okay, the use of personal protective equipment, PPE, best practices, employees and students will be required to bring and wear masks at all times. Salons and spas may want to consider requiring clients to wear masks. Clients should wear face masks to the extent possible while receiving services. Salon spa shops should also make up the use of face shields, gloves, disposable or rewashable capes, smocks, neck strip. These items should be disinfected and disposed of in between each client, and there's several that you can get. We'll talk about that. Employees and students should arrive at the salon spa shop showered, wearing clean clothing, and changing clothing before leaving, because it can stay on fabric. And so you don't want to go back home, particularly if you have elderly folks that are living with you, and you don't want to actually share that virus with them. And there's a whole case of different scenarios of what could happen. So hand washing with soap and water for a minimum of 20 seconds will be required by employees and students between each and every service. And I saw a physician on television the other day, and he was talking that he's been practicing for 25 years, and he uses a protective face mask and all the other, and he washes his hands at least, and he said 200 times a day, and he always wears a coat, kind of a formalized coat. And he says, I have never caught a flu or a cold or anything because I take so many precautions. So good information. Cleaning and disinfecting salons and shops. All business should be thoroughly cleaned, disinfected prior to reopening. Disinfecting all surfaces, tools, linens, and even if you were clean before before the salon spa shop was closed. One thing I will tell you, if anything was in there before you closed, it's not there now. And the reason it's not there now is because it doesn't live that long, but you should obviously go in there and redo it. Disinfect all tools, shampoo areas, pedicure bowls, workstations, treatment rooms, etc. Remove all unnecessary items from the reception area, including now paper, believe it or not, cardboard, things of that nature. It's almost like a magnet. It will stick to it. And so you have to eliminate the magazines, newspaper. Give people service menus to take home. Don't have that plastic surface laminated menu that people sometimes use, and also any unnecessary paper products. And avoid exchanging cash if you can. Tips are going to be a problem. That's one thing I will tell you guys. Stylists are used to getting gratuities. Sometimes they put it in envelopes, sometimes they hand it to them personally, sometimes they leave it up the front desk. It's a big issue. There is a program called Tippy. I'm not going to endorse it or recommend it. I just think that you have to think about how are you going to do that. Credit cards and debit transactions, preferable if it's touch-free, if it's the swiping or what have you. If you use the no signature technology, you'll be good. If you don't, you have to use a stylist or they have to do it with their finger. Make sure that you're sterilizing that. We have a checklist that does that for you. Employees and students who are sick should be expected to stay home. Owners, educators, managers should provide training, educational materials, and reinforce on the proper sanitation, hand washing, coughing, sneezing etiquette, using PPE, and other protective behaviors. So training is essential. We've developed a training program, a course that we'll talk about in a bit, and we'll show you a few things about it. And it's very extensive. So ensure break rooms are thoroughly cleaned and sanitized and not used for congregating by employees or students. That's another important thing, because we kind of look at it, I always refer to the students and the stylists like sardines. They like to sardine it, where they get into those back rooms and before you know it, they're sitting down almost on each other's laps. So be flexible with work schedules, hours to reduce the number of people employees and clients, so you don't have that big flush or rush. I have, on a Saturday morning, I have 25 seats filled. I have all the way to the front desk, at the front desk, and then out the door, probably another 6 to 8 or 10 clients. So I have a big issue with that. That's why we have to do a lot of adjustments. So you got to be flexible. And they were talking about work schedules. We're going to have to be flexible with work schedules. And then obviously maintain the social distancing. Schools will adjust classroom and may have hybrid training in campus and online. We're online, 100% online right now. But when we go back, we've already gotten approval from NACIS and the DOE, Department of Education, that we can have a hybrid program. We're waiting for state of Illinois to wake up and say, it's okay. Right now, they're waiting. We can't put all those students back in school. We need to break them up, so we need to have some online education going on while you have other classes on campus. Physical appearance. Okay, now this is the stuff that is no longer Florida. This is what we're telling you guys you should do. Johnny's going to be able to reiterate some of the stuff that we've done when we get through with this part of it, and then you'll get a sense of it. What does the outside of your salon or spa look like? So take an objective look. Why? Because you have to have a new face. It's got to look better than it looked before, or at least it's got to look like a change of something's happened. Even if all you do is modify the door and you paint the outer frame, something has to be different. Power washing outside of your building. I've got a building with white brick on it, and for me to power wash that, it makes it jump right off of it. Plus, I've got windows and sidewalks. Nothing better than the power wash windows. Power wash sidewalks. Power wash your window. Painting exterior. We're painting exterior. We've got a manset that wraps all the way around, a big aluminum roofing system, and we are painting that. Signage, reader board, banners, grand opening, re-grand opening. Put it out there. Let everybody know. Posters in the window. We have beautiful posters. If you guys need the posters, we also have a connection at Vista Print where you can have them sized. You might even have the ability of getting your own logo put on them. I'm not positive. Johnny could talk about that too. And we have benches that we recommend. It's moving in the summertime. If you've got a waiting area, get rid of it. Use it for other purposes. And this way nobody's tempted to start bundling up and huddling up anywhere in your facility. And then put benches outside if you need to. If people don't want to wait in their cars, or if it's summer and they can wait outside. Parking lot, restripe, restrip, and reface. Okay, front desk. Sign at the front door. My recommendation, sign at the front door. Clients must wear masks. but you must communicate with them before they come, because if they don't have one, you're going to have to supply them one. And I would recommend that. You don't want to turn away a client because they don't have a mask. You got to supply them with a mask. Ask clients to wear a mask before coming into the salon, spa, or school. Who is going to greet them? Da 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 da. You got to think about that one, because you literally have to have a greeter up there, or somebody's got to be up at that front station saying, I'll greet everybody, right? Now, when you greet them, what are you going to say? Oh, well, go ahead and sit down. We'll be with you in a minute. Ah, those days are gone, aren't they? So now what's the protocol? Particularly if you're a small salon, what's the protocol? Wait in the vestibule, wait outside, we'll be right with you. You got to think about that one. Or are you going to have somebody who's going to be now assisting all of you guys as part of the new, protocols? Who's going to take the temperature? Who's going to, take that infrared? If a client's at 99, who's going to ask them to leave, and how are they going to ask them to leave, right? The last thing you want to do is embarrass the client. The last thing you want somebody to blurt out is, oh my gosh, you're at 99.5. You got to leave. That's the last thing you want to have happen. And it will, if there's no training, no protocol. Have masks at the front desk. Clients accepted based on appointments. Now, what happens if somebody walks in? You don't want to embarrass them. What you should have is a document. What you should be able to do is say, listen, let me book you an appointment, and I can do it now, or let me give you this, and then you can call us, or you can go online, and here's the information of how to do it. Man, thanks so much for coming in. We've got a few openings later this afternoon. We've got some openings tomorrow. Go in your car and call us. People are going to ask you, can't you squeeze me in? I'm not sure that anybody's going to have time to squeeze anybody in. I'm not sure. So I don't even want to go there. Have masks at the front desk. Clients accepted based on appointment. Schedule clients by appointment only. Call or book online. Hey, booking online is the way to go. If you haven't had any experience with it, I would start to say get into it. It's going to reduce two things. Number one, it's going to reduce the congestion up at the front desk. It's going to reduce that phone ringing. And number two, it's going to release overhead and payroll and people and bodies to some degree. And you need to exfoliate people out of that front desk area. And that idea, oh, there's somebody on the phone wants to talk to you, Maggie. So things have got to change. Prepay with credit cards. And there are salons that are doing. I know Cromings is doing that. I talked to him the other day, and he's going to be going ahead and doing that on a regular basis. He's got a number of other things that he's percolating right now. And one of the things is, if somebody misses their appointment, which we'll talk about, what if they don't show up, okay, so his thing is that he's going to charge them 50% of the fee. And this is a crazy one. If the stylist doesn't make it, and the client has prepaid, he's going to give that client a credit, not just a credit on that CC, but some reparation for that stylist not showing up or being available because this is a last minute cancellation. So, when you think about it, if you're by yourself, it's okay. You have a couple, 2 or 3 people, but once you get into multiple locations or bigger salons, it becomes a problem. So some salon spas will not accept cash. In his particular case, he's not accepting cash. I've talked to others, they're not going to accept cash. And others say, I don't know any other way to do it. Well, if you do accept cash, like at my school, Miss Cheryl, she was wearing a set of gloves on a daily basis for at least the last week or 2 weeks. Now, the only one thing I would tell you is that every time you do accept cash, make sure that you go ahead and you sanitize those gloves. If not, if it's on one, other stuff that you're touching within the facility, it might not have, touched you, but still in all, you could be rubbing your face with contaminated gloves. Transactions with credit cards, no signature paper, etc. General protocol. What services will you be offering? Now, some salons are going to be minimizing services when they first open in a soft opening. Some are going full bore ahead. Some are sequestering color to be only done on specific days. Some are sequestering seniors only to come in on specific days because they don't want them at high risk to be in the general population. So will you stop general towel and smock service? In other words, will you request clients to bring their own towel? This way they're not worried about anyone contaminating it, because if you guys are washing towels and you're handling them, somebody else is handling them, and they're folding them, that might be for them a turnoff. So maybe general towels would be available for them to bring in. I also know that in the case of spas, there are some spas that are going to ask clients, and you'll see here, your spa as clients will bring in their own towel, their own robe, and their own throw blanket. So if they don't, they have brand new ones packaged up for the client to buy. So that's something else to think about. I know in our facility, in our studio fitness centers, we've got a lot of adjustments that we're making, and it's amazing how much goes into that. And the great thing about what we're doing is we are not a sweatbox. We don't have like a Planet Fitness or any Crunch or whatever, where you got 1,000 people, 500 people coming in and out of the place in a day. We've got individual rooms with one trainer with one person, and it works out great. There's no cross contamination. So will you be asking clients to actually have their hair washed before they come in? Everyone has to be an ambassador. What happens if you have a stylist, Esty, student, breaking Sani procedures? They can't wait to say, well, I'm gonna, you better talk to the owner. No, the thing is if you're ruining our ability to service our clients, you're not living up to the sanitation standards that we have already put in place. We don't want anybody damaging our reputation. So I would recommend that everybody is the ambassador. Everybody is concerned, and we're all in it together. Now, what happens if your salon spa is not living up to the sanitation standards and you don't know it? Okay, well, I have used client feedback forms, Miss Cheryl, Miss Jackie could tell you, forever in our school. And we don't do them doesn't last for one solid year. It might be 3 to 4 months at a time. Things are a little shady, maybe. Let's put them back out. And we're asking things like, were you greeted when you came in the facility? How was the wait? How was your consultation? Things of that nature. Now, I would say you're going to want to ask questions. How did you feel? Did you feel comfortable? The best thing I could tell you is that there's so much exposure right now for salons, barbershops, etc. on TV. I've never seen anything like it. And I've seen them interviewing the clients, and the clients are some of the best testimonies. Oh, I feel 100% terrific here. This doesn't bother me at all. They really are. That's what you want to hear. And I put down here, hair performers. This is one of our locations. Hair performers sanitation rules and regulations. It's not called protocol. It's called rules and regulations. Why not procedures? Rules and regulations, because that's how serious this is. Okay, reception area, no magazines, menus to take home, 6 foot between clients waiting. If you have to do it inside. Clients must text or call from their car, and then they are invited in. There's folks that are recommending come 15 minutes early. I know it's early, but I might be able to get you in a little bit early because I'm taking more time per client. And please text me and I'll let you know if you should come in. If additional seating should be used outside with vestibules. Okay, the interior, deep cleaning, room by room, take every room, evaluate it, vacuum the dryer, vacuum the dryer exhaust system. There's gonna be lint up there. Wash behind those dryers because you got lint floating in. Look up at the ceiling in that utility room. There might be lint on that ceiling. Everywhere you need to clean. Provide towels, maybe. Paint storage utility cabinets. Even if they look okay, make them look great. Whether you issue towels, get new towel baskets, shampoo bowls, rod them, clean out underneath every shampoo bowl. You're going to find some kind of debris, get rid of it. Repair or order new additional chairs, repaint ceiling, In our particular case, we are repainting, we're changing out tiles. You can market in that shampoo area. You can put things up there that are either marketing and or relax, comfort, something that is new and different. So when they come back, it's not the same old thing. They go, oh, you have things up there now. Paint or wash all towel storage areas, resupply all new dispensers. You know those dispensers at the back, sometimes they get dropped, they get dented, they might have some chips on them. Resupply. All garbage cans, get the steel type. I was at Home Depot looking at them. I was at Lowe's looking at them. They're at Costco. I've seen them for about $49 a piece, and that's a larger size, and that's with that switch top. They also have less expensive ones for the little ones behind the front desk. But I would say rethink that that plastic. Rethink the plastic. Okay, styling floor, 6 feet apart. Wall separators, walls are on wheels. That's a way to separate. Some of you are going to have a real problem. You've got 5 feet, 5 feet, 5 feet, and there's only 4 of you. Well, maybe there should be only 2 of you at a time. Or maybe you should say 3 could be there, but you have to have walls on wheels to slide in between. Stations and counters clean. I'm going to be doing rollouts and carts. I don't want to see anything on stations. I don't want to see any paper anywhere. I don't want to see any books. I don't want to see anything. Completed clients have an assistant clean the chair. If you've got that ability to have additional chairs somewhere, then I would say you could even switch them to an additional chair if your salon isn't filled with all your stylists. Let's say you have 10 chairs and there's only 6 of you. Well, you could strategically figure it out even on a split schedule of what chairs would be available to be able to move them, because on a wipe it's going to be 2 minutes. Sometimes on a spray it might be as long as 10 minutes. You've got to know what your sanitation regulations are for disinfection. So set up your Sani station. My recommendation: set up a Sani station so clients can see it. It's visible, not in the back room, and put out there the things that you're going to be using. So if you're utilizing a pump, which is for a gel type Purell, have it out there, available not only on the front desk, but available on the Sani station. If you're going to have a spray, have the spray on there. Whatever things that you're going to be utilizing for sanitation without the deep wells that you're going to be putting your servicing items in, I would have it on there. Wipes, I would have it on there. This way, it's sending a message. We're not messing around. So clear view and marked. Interview cleaning team, an interview cleaning team, a Sani team, a clean team, you name it. You know, maybe at 9, let's say you take a client and you have a 15-minute break or a 30-minute break, and you break it at lunchtime. Then everybody sanitizes and have a real lunch at that point, right? I mean, you weren't making any money before. Now you make just a little bit less, but maybe you adjust your pricing and you make just about the same. But think about that Sani team, that cleaning team, that interval team. Repaint the salon. Grays, cool is right now. Cools and warms and grays are great. Creams, cools and warms are great. Add crown molding on your ceiling if you don't have it. Put it on the floor base. Rip off that rubber molding and put on the nice stuff, right? Doesn't cost much. If you need to, replace the floor or strip and wax it. Even you can strip and wax with a low gloss, even ceramic, and it looks great. Graphics, you should have it. CV statements, you should have that too. The graphics should be fashion, absolutely. We do have that. I'm sure you have more available. CV-19 statements, certifications of having CV training. Change your lighting. Older lighting can be paid for by your electric company. Replace your filters, okay? Johnny's going to talk about that in a minute. Now, re-grand opening. Certification of sanitation on CV-19. All staff members must be certified. There's certain certifications around. I don't happen to think they're very good, but there are some out there. I've seen them. I've taken it. I think that you almost have to be an imbecile to fail, because it's so obvious what the question is or what the answer is. You know, I like the ones where 3 could be the right answer, not just 1. Okay, now also email drips. You have to let the clients know right now what's going on. if you are opening up on May 28th, man, you gotta have something going out already to let them know, and then figure out how you're gonna book it. So a lot of answers you have to come up with. We are doing drip campaigns for our members. We're letting to their clients because they belong to a drip campaign program called Clients for Life. No charge, right? We do it for them. Texting app, we do that also. If you have a texting app, now go ahead and start texting your clients with your app. Our members have that as also, it's complimentary. So texting that you are thinking of them. Social media coming soon. Some of you are going to be on a short window. Some of my friends that are on from California are going to be on a longer window. Some from Michigan, longer window. But here's what I would say. Not all your clients are going to be reading social media. And you have to do something. And texting we just talked about, emailing is another thing. But one of the really great things that one of our members did is she went over to Walgreens, bought the Hairstyle Guide magazine. We're always in that. She went to the page where everybody is listed. Bobby Fairbanks from Chattanooga, Elon Salon from Georgia, Candy Shaw from Georgia. A lot of our members or associates that use our products are in there. And what this gal did was cut up a bunch of the pictures, right? And then she went ahead and sent that with a little card and saying to a client, I miss you. Here's something that I thought you might like, the particular color or the particular style. Can't wait to see you. And she mailed them out, I think, to 125 or 150 clients. The first day that it landed, she got a phone call from her client. Client said, oh my God, I can't believe it. I love the style that you put in there. It was so thoughtful of you. And I am going to rebook. You guys cancel me. Could I have the first week, whenever that is? Could I have the first or second day? I really need your service and I want to get that style. I mean, and she said, and I'm going to remember this for years to come. And so those little things that sometimes go unmentioned that you do are phenomenal. Okay, under remodeling, let them know that too. Take pictures right now. I talked to Lynn Villeros yesterday. I said, I looked at what she had done. I looked at her Facebook. I looked at a contest that she had run. It's all good. A couple of tweaks and a way to really get this client to become more of a influencer and get this client who won the $200 of John Amico product to really be broadcasting and sharing lots of information about her salon. And I said, but now I noticed that you haven't posted since the 5th of May. She said, oh yeah, I know I haven't been, but I'm going there today. I said, good, you go there today. Oh, but I got boxes. I want you to take a picture with you and the boxes and say, we're cleaning. We're getting ready for our reopening. And you know, clients like that type of thing. So go ahead and do that. So what you're doing with remodeling, ozone systems, foggers, etc. I've got a couple I'm going to show you today. Adjusting your prices for the cost of CV-19. You got to think about it, guys. Think about it, because it's going to cost you more to operate your business now. And think about the at-risk client, you know, separate days. Walgreens, they have this thing Tuesday, 7:30 to 8:30 or 9 o'clock for senior citizens. Think about that, because you don't want folks that have some labored problems, right, to be in the general population. Okay, re-grand opening continued. What do we need to think about? Have fun. Make it a great event. Now, you can't serve coffee anymore. I wouldn't recommend it. You can't, you know, there's a lot of things you can't do right now. Like we always put down a candy bowl, a client can take candy and unwrap it. We're not going to do that anymore. But, you know, have a DJ. Have things that are a little bit maybe more virtual and drawings and anything like that, even featured on Facebook. However you can do it, drawings for the first every 4 Saturdays. So think about that fun day. All right, daily checklist, bathrooms, all maintenance being done on a daily basis. Bathrooms are a big issue. So make sure that you have that your Sani team or someone who's assigned to it each day, maybe somebody different, morning to afternoon, somebody different, but monitor it, walk in every hour on the hour, every 2 hours, walk in, check it out, toilet paper okay, anything on the floor, and make sure that it looks great. And do that in some format. And in the cruise ships, they put a sign in the bathroom. It says like, we care, and then somebody signs off in these little blank spots. I like to see that, because when I see that, what it tells me is that people care about this and they are checking up on it, particularly on cruises, because you know, they have viruses. So big spa salon should hire a part-time employee to clean after, and maybe not that big. Raising your prices for all CV-19 products must plus even more if you're hiring someone, and then you have your to-do checklist. Okay, now Johnny, if you could chat just for a couple of minutes here, number one on the exterior, number two on the interior, and then number three, some of the things like the lighting and getting some co-op dollars, okay?
Sure, absolutely. So just a few things on that. So first off, as my father's discussing, anything to make the salon, look new again to the clients will be great, especially by looking new. It's going to appear, of course, sanitized and clean. So, we're spending a good amount of time, especially at the school, doing those sorts of things. So not only a deep cleaning, but also, going through and on the interior, repainting. If there's some spot for carpeting, maybe redoing some carpeting. In terms of lighting, as my father mentioned, we worked with ComEd, and if you call your local, again, each state is different, but ComEd here in Illinois is our main electric company. So if you call them, they have a list of providers that they work with that will come into your business, and they'll replace the lighting. And for the most part, they'll subsidize probably 80% of it. You might have to pay a 20% of it, but overall in 1 year it pays for itself, because the lighting costs in terms of electric costs that you'll save in 1 year will pay for whatever that 20% is. So it's a really good program that they have. They're just trying to get those LED lights in, and so we did that as well. So again, just trying to make the facility look clean and new and fresh, along with the exterior. Now, most salons are probably rented property. Some people own their own buildings. So if that's the case, you may want to have the opportunity or time to, as my father mentioned, get a power washer and just spray it down, freshen it up, make it look nice and clean for your clients upon reentry into into your salon. So that's really what we've been doing, and want to make it look great for the clients and for the students as well.
So we also had, some issues with our roof. So we went ahead and we actually redid our roof, right, Johnny?
That's correct. Yep, we redid the roof. We had a few leaks that were taking place, so it was just time to get that done. So yeah, we had that done as well. So some of these major projects, we said, okay, let's do it now to get it out of the way, because it's difficult sometimes, especially when your salon is open. Let's say it's open 6 days. If you only have 1 day that you're closed, to get that done, or no days that you're closed to get those things done. So, this is the time to really get in there, deep clean, paint. And some of it doesn't cost that much money. It's more just your resource and time. And if you've got the time, take that time to do it. And I think you'll feel good about your salon as well. Not only the way it looks, but you'll feel good about, of course, with your clients, and it looks fresh, and probably get some nice compliments as well.
Yeah, one last thing, we had our front desk, and we had this really nice front desk, and it was all done with ceramics, and it was like 1 inch ceramics or maybe a ½ an inch ceramics, and there must have been like 1,000 of these little ceramics on the top, and it was grouted and all that. However, because it is raised and then you got grout lines, the fact is of getting that really well cleaned is very difficult, particularly in today's day and age. And so, as opposed to having that kind of a configuration, we actually tossed that, and we've got a whole new reception area, smooth, easy, all flat Formica, and it looks beautiful, and it's so easy to maintain. And I think so. There's little things that you can do. I mean, you don't even have to spend a lot of money. You could even go to IKEA if you wanted to. They have some things that are there that are inexpensive just to make it the best. And one last thing, we do have some opportunity with our city. They have a beautification program, and we're focusing in on some landscaping, and we're focusing on painting the exterior of our facility. And they're going to be contributing a small portion of it. But hey, there's money to be had, guys, and don't overlook it. You might not even think about that. So, okay, well, thanks, Johnny. All right, so let me go to the next one. This is a letter that is from Southwest Airlines, and it is from the president of the company. I am what is called an A-lister, meaning that I have 25 flights or more a year. And so they want to make certain that not only me, but everybody else understands where they're at. And so this is a letter that came to me. It says, the safety and well-being of our employees and customers are all of our neighbors, family, friends in the community we serve has been our top priority. Never has the duty to be clearer than it is now. That is why we are making several changes to many of our procedures to employ stringent cleaning and safety practices to support the health and wellness of our employees and customers. We're calling this the Southwest Promise. Our Southwest Promise includes using electrostatic antimicrobial spray treatments and disinfectants, cleaning in our aircraft between each flight, limiting the number of passengers on board, and changing our boarding procedures to promote personal space. All of our team will be wearing PPE and will be expected, all passengers, to wear masks and possible gloves. They haven't decided on the gloves yet, but they are going to be giving people the masks to be on the planes if they don't have it. Okay, so that's a letter. Now, I did make that letter available last week to be sent out. We'll be sending out, for those that haven't got the packages, let us know when we're done that you would like to have it, simply by putting it up on the Q&A or on the chat, and we'll be sending it out to everybody. We don't want us to repeat, I guess. All right, let me go to here. This is what we're telling our clients. This was the week before. Happy Mother's Day. Go to John Amico, buy these products. There's a promotion on. And by the way, it went out. And so even yesterday, I had a $107 order from a client. So, you know, it's a beauty school. But a client bought $107 worth of product yesterday. So think about that, guys. And then we're notifying the students that are going to be starting and when classes are going to be handling, right? Now, this is because you're going to have to wear a mask all the time. You might want to be able to get one that, or two or three, a little bit more expensive, but maybe a little bit more fashionable for you, right? This is guys and girls. Now, this is a surgical mask on the young lady on the right. And on the left, this is a gal who's got a mask. It's okay. But the surgical mask, for me, that's not appropriate, because she could have droplets. She could have anything come out of that mask, even while she's talking to the client. And so for me, she should be having an N95, or she should have a shield. Now, if she had a shield and she had that mask, it would be okay. But see how close she is? And so to me, that's inappropriate, but it's okay. She's making an attempt. Now, if you'll notice, the client on the client here has an N95. And then you'll notice that the two stylists have, I'm assuming, multiple layers. I don't know the quality of it, but I think it's okay. It's okay. Neither one is okay. Okay. For him, he should have an N95. For that client, he should have something that could minimize the inhaling of this fellow breathing so close to him, and I'm sure he even gets closer in particular cases. So I would say, hey, hold a towel or hold this mask or something to protect that client. Forehead monitors and thermometers, these are available. They go from like 59, I've seen them at 79, different price points, but I would recommend that you get this. That's a must. That's a must. These are the wall dividers, walls on wheels. You notice they're by Belvedere. If you guys like those, they run around $300. If your husband's handy, brother's handy, they could probably make something for you. This is the idea: separation between shampoo bowls, separation between client chairs. This is on the front desk, and I've seen a lot of different price points. I think theirs are pretty reasonable. They start out at about $45 and they go up to about $150, depending on the size and the type, but everybody must have one. You'll notice that, I don't know if you can see it, I can see it. where they can put their hands underneath it. So I have a friend who went and got a manicure because Florida opened up on Monday. She went and got a manicure on Friday, and she said that that they actually had this. She went to Palm Beach County because it was open sooner, that they actually put her hands through there, and that's how she got her manicure. Very creative. Okay, I'm recommending that you guys go and get one of these systems. The systems are going to range between $100 and probably $400, depending on the size, the type, and what it does. But this is going to be number 1, ozone. Number 2, infrared. Number 3 also has UV. So there's a number of things that this will work and do. And depending on the size you get is going to be dependent on the size of your facility. For example, my main floor is 2,500 square feet up to 3,500 square feet. So I'm going to get one that's going to be at least 4,000 square feet. I'm also going to have some portable ones in classrooms that are going to be small, only going to be covering 100 or 200 square feet. This is going to be set automatically to go on at a particular time, and it will be on for 1 hour, and it will kill just about everything in the facility, including viruses. And then it shuts off. Let's say it was at midnight, and then it shuts off at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then by 2 o'clock in the morning, it's safe to re-enter your facility. So I'm recommending this, and I am not going to hide that. That's going to be in a prominent place. I might even label it. Here's another one. This is a little bit more complicated, a little bigger unit. It's got a remote system to it. Very similar. So the first one that I showed you, that's a 5-in-1 HERPA air filter, purifier, ozone generator with digital display, timer, remote, ionized, deodorized, 3,700 square feet, 3,700, real big size. HERPA, carbon, and it has a variety of different kind of filters. Plus, I did mention the UV light and the negative ion generator. 4.4 out of 5 stars, 23 ratings, all great. Amazon, $269, free shipping. I mean, even if I had a 1,500 square foot facility, I could put that one in, and it's kind of attractive in a sense, right? It looks kind of okay. So that's one of the things I would tell you. Now, we've established a course, a CV-19, COVID-19 course. Here's an example. A virus is a microscopic organism that relies on its host, like people, plants, and animals, to make more of itself. It contains a genetic code, DNA or RNA, that acts as a blueprint for the virus to make more of itself. During an infection, the virus will hijack your cells and use them to package its genetic code with its proteins and other molecules into a new virus particle. The new virus will then spread through your body and out into the environment. So your body becomes a host. You become a virus machine. You start populating viruses, and before you know it, they're popping out of your ears, okay? Now, I never thought about it quite that way, but that's what the reality is. That's one of 17 pages about sterilization, sanitation, and viruses, okay? Now, here's an example. Please take the following evaluation to become certified in COVID-19. This will be suitable to be framed and displayed at your station. All right, directions. Read each question and select one answer. People with COVID-19 have had a wide range of symptoms reported, ranging from mild symptoms to severe symptoms. Okay, now, symptoms may appear 2 days to 4 days, 5 to 8, 9 to 14. I want all of you right now, go ahead and under either poll or under Q&A or chat, Johnny, where do you want them to put it? I want them all to give me answer number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one's right?
They could go to chat and just put it in the chat box, and you'll see all
Okay,
the.
now you pull it up. Okay, you pull it up. Let's do it right now. Everybody do it right now. Hurry up. Yeah.
I see them all populating there, and they've all answered the same, and they've all put in number. All of them are number 4, and 2 are number 3.
Okay. So what I was told is that you only have symptoms for at least the first 4 days. And then you'll start to get symptoms on the 5th day, and then you might start running a fever. And then by the 14th day, it's full blown in most cases, right? So I would have probably, at the beginning, picked out maybe 5 to 8 days. Well, the fact is, it's all of the above because everybody is different. Some people, boom, they get it the first day they're sick. Some people, it's on the 10th day that they get sick. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. But first of all, if I were talking to a client and I happen to mention, it actually builds a genetic code. And then what it does is it populates and it hijacks your cells. And then from that time, it starts to package up the genetic code, and then it starts to reproduce it. And the molecules then are in my system, but then they are actually spreading to other people, just like, ping pong balls bouncing all over the place, right? I would say, oh my God, this person is great. They know everything. So just think about that, guys. Okay, Johnny, could you kind of take over this for me? And then I want to go to the checklist and to the liability release form, okay?
Sure, absolutely. Yep. So we do have a number of technologies that help you stay in connection with your clients. So some of you, of course, are still not open, and this is a great way of communicating with your clients during this time. So if, in fact, you do open in a couple weeks, this is a great way of using this technology as well. For those clients that want to stay on their regimen, they have specific products that they use on a regular basis. Maybe they have a specific routine that they follow. They want to make sure that they receive those products. The technology allows you and allows your clients to purchase those products through you. So let's talk about these technologies that are available. We call it STAR Tech Summary. And so STAR is really an acronym. The acronym is basically Stylus Technology Amazing Results. And you really do get good results. And for those of you that are starting up again, you definitely want to use this technology once you get back in the salon, because again, it's going to help you stay in communication and in connection with them. So let's go through the first one. The first one is your John Amico Client Connect personal website. You do have a personal website, web store with John Amico. We use your own name. So for example, it would be something like johnamico.com/ and then your first and last name. So if my name was Rhonda Murphy, it'd be johnamico.com/ Rhonda Murphy. And you can give that to your clients. It goes right to your website or web store. The nice thing about that as well is you should put that on all of your media sources. So for example, you should have it on your Facebook site. You should have it on your website. You should have it on business cards. So it really goes on everything. So when your clients need products, they need to purchase something, they can get it, and it gets delivered right to their front door. The second thing is your John Amico Client Connect mobile app. The mobile app is really your electronic business card, and it resides on your clients' phones. So what's nice about that is if you have 300 clients, this resides on all of their phones, and it has all of your pertinent information. So everything from your store to your contact information to booking online appointments if you're using an online appointment scheduler, to your Facebook site, to your website. So it has all of your information on that. Your clients can also share that web app with other potential clients so they can recommend you. And finally, with that mobile app, what's nice about it is you can communicate to your clients. So if you have 300 clients with all of that mobile app information on their phones, you can send out a message and it goes up like a notification, almost like a text notification on all of your clients' phones. So it's a really good way to communicate also with your clients too. So that would be the Client Connect mobile app. Think of it as your electronic mobile business card. It really is kind of the newest way or wave of how to communicate with clients. And, all clients have their phones at all times, for the most part, right? And so it really is something good. Next is your John Amico Show and Sell Impact Video app. This is something where you can promote and educate to your client specific products. So you can identify, maybe there's a product that your clients heard about, want to use, want to try. Maybe it's the John Amico OMG product. And so you can literally create a 60-second video You can send that to your clients. You can also post it on social media. And from that, you're able to receive sales. So the nice thing about that is if you have a client that comes in and they're looking for a 32 ounce or a larger size or some size that you don't even have, you can send them a show and sell, a video app. They can get that video app right in the salon, click buy, and check out right before they even leave the salon. So it really is a unique thing for you to communicate benefits and features of different products. And finally, the last thing is the John Amico Clients for Life. And this is wonderful because we help promote and educate for you to your clients. And so we have a portal that's available. You can go to www.jaclientsforlife.com. We can also send you a spreadsheet that you can fill out, or if you're using the John Amico Salon software, we can also export the data from there. But to make to tell you all about it, encapsulated, it's really simple. We put together educational and promotional information. We send that out about 4 times a month. Your clients receive that. They look at it. If they click the buy button or they execute the buy button and purchase any products or go to johnamico.com to buy something, because of this information, we know that that client belongs to you. You always receive the commissions. And the commissions are always between 35 to 45%. Every month we send out checks for 35%. The additional 10% we hold kind of in a fund so that when you attend the John Amico incentive trip, we give you that additional 10% on the trip. And it usually pays for, anywhere between, a small percentage to the entire trip. So it depends on how well you're using the technology. But I would suggest everybody should be using all of this technology. You really get great results. And I saw an increase of over 100% of the technology being used by stylists over the last 2 months here. So it really has helped with clients being able to purchase products. I've heard lots of good stories about clients being able to get products through stylists, and this is definitely one of the ways of doing it.
Well, when I talked with Lynn Villeros yesterday, she told me that she was able to, from the revenue that she was receiving online, she was able to maintain some of her expenses. I don't think all of her expenses in the salon, but a lot of expenses.
That's fantastic. That's great.
That she was able to do. So yeah, so she was very, very good. All right, let me go on. This is what Johnny was talking about. And then when he was talking about, what are you going to get? If we had actually had to put a price tag next to it, each one, and many other companies would be charging, for example, the personal website, $200, the mobile app, $200, the impact video, $200, the lifetime subscription for the Clients for Life, $200. It's $800 a year just to get those kinds of services. But in addition to that, we realize that there's such a hardship. We're actually, for all of our existing members, they've been getting it free. We're still going to extend that free. The only thing we actually ask is if somebody can order about $20 a week, which is about $1,000 a year, to be able to maintain those services. And so anybody coming in new, if you have family and friends, if you have stylists that work in your salon that are independent contractors, if you work with other people that they want to make a new decision, a new direction, it's available. Plus, we're going to give them a kit of all of the product, which is approximately $400 worth of value. We're going to give it to them literally free. It's actually on a basis where they put a $99 deposit down, they try it, they like it. If in fact at the end of 30 days for any reason they don't or can't join or be part of the system, by the way, the membership is free, then they will request a refund. We're going to give them their $99 back. And then in addition to that, we're going to also tell them to keep the products. Why? Because we know it's not the issue of the products. What's the issue? She may be leaving that salon. She may be moving to another area. She may be maybe significant other and she has issues at home. There could be any one of a number of things, but it's just not the right time. So we know in 6 months or a year, she'll be on board with us because she'll keep looking at that and saying, you know what, I've been recommending Freeze and Shine for 25 years and now nobody even buys what I have available because they all go to Ulta or they go to Amazon. It's cheaper there. So I've got to do something, and this is a good direction for me to take now. So that's available. This is what we always say. If you want to have financial freedom, you can simply change your life. So how do you change your life? You change your life. It's simple as that. The savings that we showed today was $2,000. invest $99 to gain FIRE. What's FIRE? Financial freedom, retire early, if you so should select to. And then there's an application that everybody can go to who is not a member, who wants to join, jastars.com. Okay, I'm going to take you now to another area, and I'm going to show you some other things. So I need to share my screen in a different format. That was an application, by the way. And the first thing I want to do is take you over to this checklist here. And so this is a checklist that you should have to print out on a daily or weekly basis to make sure that everything is being sourced and done. Example, a pilot gets a checklist. He walks outside of the plane. He looks under it, looks at the wheels. He looks at everything. He goes in and they start, him and his co-pilot, they're checking off all these things to make sure this plane is ready to go. So temperature checks, Salon should consider using touchless. Okay, yeah, we're gonna do that. Okay, but who's assigned to do that? How often? Okay, a 5 is the highest you can go, right? And that's like from 1 to 5, that's a 5. And when is it going to be done? It's going to be daily, all day long. And so when you would go through here, like for example, asking the clients, who's going to do that? What are they going to ask? Yes, we have to have a sheet, and it's got to have these components in it. So whether or not you use the sheet that we have developed or you use your own makes no difference, but you've got to do it. Who's going to do it? What's the rating? Me, it's a 5. Done every day, done every client. Okay, who's supposed to do it? Identify it. Somebody at the front desk, somebody else, right? This way you never hear, oh, that's not my job. Okay, limit the people in your shop, maintain social distancing, personal care gear, face shields, gloves, masks, a whole checklist, okay? Disinfectants, how do you use them? Different things of that nature. Are they being used at the different areas? And it's a reminder, hey, a disinfectant used for immersing must be changed daily, if not sooner, because it becomes contaminated. Okay, are we changing it daily? Who's doing that? Wiping down the reception area. And then what things to avoid, right? Then you move down to what are the areas that we really have to police? Who's going to police them? Who's responsible to monitor it? Restrooms, shampoo bowls, workstations, all these, the pedicure bowls, administrative controls. Employees who are sick expect to stay home. I'll talk about that in a minute under liability. Be flexible with your work schedules. Yes, of course. And then over here, you can go ahead and add anything that you want additionally. And that's what I do. And this is not locked down. So if you want to change it, you can change it. So it's available. All right, so that's one. Okay, now what we have here, this is a personal one that someone is going to make up for themselves. Now you have that checklist, but now you have other things that you're trying to lay out your plan. Curbside waiting, have your clients notify you when they arrive. Let them know that you are ready. Okay, that's part of my process. I should be thinking about that one. Letter to clients, okay, knowing what the type of procedures are for PPE, and anything that I want to include in that letter, like, hey, we're going to have temperature checks. We're going to require that you're going to be signing this item that I've included because that's part of our process. We're going to be wearing masks and gloves as part of the process. But this, again, is your own personal one that you're developing. And then when you get down here for asking clients to come in 15 minutes earlier and asking them to, sit in their cars and notify you. And then you're going to have possibly double shifting. So let me tell you, there's many ways to do this. I've just given you a couple of options. Okay, way number one. It's a 7-day-a-week salon. It's no longer 5. Why? Because we have too many stylists who have way more than 10 people. All right, so how are we going to do this? Okay, we're going to do it accordingly to this. We might be in a big facility. We might be opening up 12 hours a day, sometimes 14 hours a day, and 7 days a week. But this is a simple one. Let's say we have 8 stylists. So we have 8 stylists, we're going to have 4 and 4. We're going to have 4 chairs going, 4 chairs won't. We're going to have clients that are going to be in. There's 1 client for each of us. That means there's going to be 8. There could be, overlap, somebody coming in, somebody leaving. So there's going to be maybe 10 people, right? We might be also just sequestering color. So we don't run into that problem of too many clients waiting for color or getting color. All right, so let's say 7 days a week. All team members will be, in 2 weeks, they will have worked 7 days, right? 3 days of working on and 3 to 4 days of being off. So that's 3 and 4. And then the next week, it goes to 4 days and 3 off. This would give the staff and everyone 2 days, 2 Saturdays off each month. Shifts could be 10 or 12 hours, meaning that it could be that length of time. So you could have 3 people working 10 hours, and then you could have 4 people working 10 hours. So 4 people working 10 hours is 40 hours. 3 people working 10 hours is going to be 30 hours, right? So 1 week they may be working 30, 1 week maybe 40. You get creative, you'll figure out how they can all work 40, if that's what you want. Now, let's look at the next one, which is, let's say, we've identified the teams, by the way. And once you're on a team, you're always on the team. This way, there's no flexibility. The reason is that we don't want this to be management by exception. But, well, I'm going to a wedding in 3 months, or I wanted to take a few days off, and my husband's going to be off, so, and then I can work. No, you can't do that. If you're going to be off, you're off, and you're not going to be able to make it up. It's as simple as that, because this is the schedule. Now, we might readjust the schedule every 90 days. We might schedule every 60 days, every 6 months, but you have to have some semblance of an organization here, okay? So here's way 2, okay? The hope team. We have 2 teams, hopes and dreams. Why? Because we have hopes, dreams, and a future. That's what all of our wristbands are. Hope team, right? They're not prime timers. They're not super busy. They're okay. They're building, okay? So they get to work on Monday from 11 to 7, right? That's what they do. They get to work on Monday, 11 to 7. Tuesday, they work from 2 to 8. Why? Because Tuesday in the evening, mid-afternoon, it's not as busy, but still in all, they're able to get the person who's a teacher or the person who gets off of work early. They're able to get the 5 o'clock clients, the 6 o'clock clients, the 7 o'clock clients. Yeah, it's good. But what about Wednesday? Wednesday, they pick up the early people, all right? People that before they go into work, people over lunchtime, they get the 8 to 2. And then Thursday, it's 8 to 2 again. Friday, they're off. Saturday, they're off. Sunday, they work 10 to 5, right? That's a decent schedule. Then we look at the dream team. These are the guys that are really busy. They got lots of clients, right? And people expect them to be there on particular days. So we start off Monday, they're off. Tuesday, 8 to 2. 8 to 2. Why Tuesday? Because Tuesday is not a great day in the evening, but it's a better day probably during the day. All right. On Wednesday, 2 to 8, because Wednesday nights and Thursday nights seem to be the busiest nights. Friday, 10 to 7. They'll open a little bit later, but they'll catch that night client. And then Saturday, 9 to 6. And that's the dream team. They're off on Sunday. So Sundays and Mondays, the dream team is off. Hope team is off on Fridays and Saturdays. That's an example. You guys just create your own. That's an example. And then you've got, high volume salons, spas need a call center 7 days a week. Some, great thing about a call center or somebody being available 7 days a week is they can answer lots of questions and they don't complicate the front desk, and it doesn't become a big issue if you could figure that one out. Now there is a company called 9 to 5. They offer that kind of service, but there's any one of a number of ways to do it, including having your online. All right, I'm not going to take any more time with this because I've got bigger fish to fry, but this is available. We will send that out. We also talk about makeover madness, hair color, makeup for your clients, and chatting with them about having that done now. All right, so we're going to go now. Okay, so this is one that I would request the client to sign. And this is a waiver of documentation, and it's also, interrogating the client whether or not she has any experience with the virus. So the first thing that I ask them to do is to print their name. If they're bringing in a child, I ask them to print the child's name and date. So We take our student staff, and this is for my school, so guys, this can be adjusted, right? And I didn't lock it down, so you guys can play with it. We take our student staff and guest health and well-being very seriously, considering the recent developments of COVID-19 in our state and an additional added precautions. Please read below, and if you answer yes to any of these questions, please let us know, and we'll be gladly to reschedule your appointment or to have you leave the school, okay? So now you can readjust that, and you could say whatever you want. You know, you could drop it right at, we can reschedule your appointment, and then you don't have to say, and we'll, you know, leave the school. I have to be more explicit because I right now know who's going to be doing this, but every now and then people do go on lunch, and I want to make certain that we don't let the people stay this time. You know, she's sick this time. Okay, have you recently traveled any of the current high-risk countries? Have you been in contact exposure? Do you have any flu-like symptoms? Have you been in any facilities with someone who has been treated with the virus? Okay, that's okay. We could add one more. It could say anybody in your family or whatever, right? And then we also say, we have taken your temperature and it is normal. If any client, staff, or students who are 99 or above, we will ask them to leave and rebook their appointment. So we're telling them, hey, you're okay. But now, we would like you to know that we have certified all of our students and staff in the use of disinfectants, wipe, PPE, and much of the all necessary precautions to avoid the spread of COVID-19. We have secured additional preventatives to ensure we have minimized our exposure to the virus. With all the training and education, we cannot guarantee and screening that at one point we may have a client, student, or staff member come down with the virus. Since there is an incubation period that may make it impossible to locate who was responsible to sharing the virus. Therefore, we request that coming to the school, you are at your own risk, and we request a brief release of liability. Okay, guys? Liability. All right, now, did you ever rent skis? Did you ever rent a wave runner? Did you ever rent a boat? You sign off your life. All right, John Amico, School of Hair Design, waiver of liability and indemnity agreement. I have carefully read and voluntarily signed this assumption of risk, release, and waiver of liability and indemnify agreement, and further agree that no oral representation, statement, or inducement apart from the foregoing written agreement have been made. I am aware that by agreeing to this agreement, I am giving up valuable legal rights, including the rights to recover damages from the John Amico School of Hair Design in case of illness, injury, death, or property loss or damages, including for the advance of doubt and without limitation exposure to CV-19 at any time. John Amico School of Hair Design campus in any illness, injury, or death resulting thereof or from. I understand that this document is promised not to sue and release of all indemnification for all claims. If children and or legal wards are, and I represent and warrant to John Amico School of Hair Design, I have full authority to sign this agreement on behalf of such minors. I have read and understand the terms of the assumption of risk, release, and waiver of liability and indemnify agreement and agree to its terms. Whew. Okay, so guys, the first thing is, if someone comes in and it's one of your stylists, and you have 3 departments. You got your hair department, you got your color, or you have your chemical, you have your whatever you have your aesthetics. And somebody says to your director, listen, I'm running a really slight fever, but this happens to me every time I have my menstrual period, and I'm sure that's what it is. So they took my temperature and it's 99.3, but I always have that, okay? I need the money, I have to stay, please let me. And the young lady who was the director says, oh yeah, I know, Marge, I know how you are. Okay, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. How are your cramps? Yeah, are you taking any medication? You taking aspirin? Or anything? Okay, fine, you can stay, right? 4 days later, she calls and says, I'm running a really high fever, and they just told me that I'm infected with CV-19. Now you have to notify all your clients, you got to tell all your stylists, you have to go through a bunch of bells and whistles, and you have let yourself open for huge liability because you were negligent. And you exposed all those people because of your generosity to allow a staff member to stay. Okay, so you cannot think in gray shades. It's either black or white, it's either right or wrong, and that's it. And that's what you have to think, that's what you have to do, and all your decision-making processes are going to be exactly the way it is. I had Lynn a couple of weeks ago call me, tell me that a client, when she decided to close, the client was saying, oh, please, can I come in? Can I come in? And Lynn says, no, I just don't feel comfortable right now. I'm closing the salon and today's my last day and that's it. She found out a week later, that client either called her or she found out from her friend, had CV-19. That's it. So, all right, so guys, this is one of the forms that we're gonna get out to you. And then there's another form, I'm gonna see if I can bring that up. And it would be for your staff, which is a relatively simple one. Let me show you this, and then I'll see if I can find that last one. Okay, this is a reopening your salon spa to-do list. It's fashioned after what my thoughts were when I did the one for you. And you can see physical appearance, front desk, all of those general protocols, reception area, salon interior, styling floor, treatment rooms, general maintenance, and so on, okay? So it's different than the other two checklists. This is one that is a working checklist for you to develop to get to the point where you do open, all right? Okay, so this is the abbreviated one. See, on the individual clients, I want those waivers and all that to be signed independently by the client. But for my stylist, if I have 3 stylists, there's 3 up on a page. In my case, I have hundreds of students, so I'm allowing them to fill these out one after another on a board, right? On one of those clipboards. So here it is. We take students and staff, we say that to them. We ask them, you know, have you been traveling, all the rest of that stuff. They write it out. We take their temperature. They're good to stay. We've got it available. If something happens a week later and they say, you know, she hasn't been in for a week and she did fill one of these out the day that she was in, and she said she wasn't any of this, then I'm covered. But if they just walk in the door, no, I don't have a fever. They told me I didn't have a fever. No, I'm okay, right? I have no documentation that staff member was ever reevaluated on a daily basis. So you have to reevaluate every person that works in your organization every day they come to work. All right. All right, Johnny, can you answer some, can we put it up there and start answering some questions for everybody?
Yep, I'll tell you some of the questions that were asked. So let me start here in the beginning. Let's see here. So there were some questions on when Illinois might open. I think we'll hear something tomorrow. I think Thursday is when the governor's going to say something, whether or not.
Well, from what I heard, it was going to be May 29th. It's almost written in stone, almost. We'll see.
Right, exactly. I think all the areas got approved, and I think the Northeast was the only one that was questionable, but I think it's so far also on there as well. In terms of this being recorded, they wanted to know if this was being recorded.
Yes.
It looks like it is.
Yes.
And then let's see here. In terms of the rules by the state of Illinois, will those be made available to everyone when the state announces what they need to do? So IDFPR, I'm assuming, will probably have something that they'll say this is the rules, and they'll either have a link posted on their website, or that's my guess. So we could probably get that link out to everybody in Illinois. They could click on it to see. I'm sure it'll be out there once they make those decisions on it. Let's see here. In terms of not offering styles, would you change the price of your service? So if you're normally charging $30 for a cut and style or $40, would you adjust your pricing at all if you're not giving the style?
I would probably adjust my pricing, but it wouldn't be, much. It might be $30 instead of 40 if you feel as though you want to support value. But then when they come in for the whole thing, I might readjust my pricing, that if my price was 45, I might raise it to 55 or 50. I'm going to raise my prices regardless. Okay, you're overworked and you're underpaid. And there's no, I remember what Rahm Emanuel says. Don't let any crisis go unused. All right? If you're going to be supplying various different kinds of products, you have to change your schedules. One other thing I will tell you, this is a perfect time to change your life. Because if you were, racking them up one after another, and you feel like you were used and abused, and you're getting tired, and you don't really need it all that much, readjust your pricing, take fewer clients, make just as much money, but improve your life. That's what I would tell you. Next one.
Perfect. Next one is, in terms of these forms, they'll all be available. I think they're most in Microsoft Word, so they'll have to open them in Word or Google Docs or something in order to get them. So that's good. Let's see here. I'm just reading over a good webinar. When will the replay be available, or will there be a link available? Can we send that out so that they can send to other people to listen to?
Yeah, so Johnny, why don't you can make those arrangements. Can you see what I have on the screen right now?
Yes, we can. That's correct.
It says, please take the following evaluation to become
Yes.
certified.
Yes, we see
Okay.
the top of that.
All right, so guys, I'm just going to take it right up here to the top. I did go to the other sites. I did see what they had to say, but being that we are a cosmetology school and we do a lot of review and research and stuff, I didn't feel as though it was really that valid. It seemed to me like they were more like pushing product than really, really answering all the questions that needed. So you can see here, this is a CV-19 course. What is the virus? How does it make you sick? How do you get rid of it? After recovery, are you available to get it again? Hold on a second. Let me get up here. Okay, what does CV-19 make? Why does it make so many people sick? Diagnosing and treatment of it, and so on and so forth. So, all of this that you see here, I think when somebody takes this and reviews it, they don't even know about chest x-rays, how that could impact you. You become a little bit more understanding, like epidemiology. Who's that? What do they do? And why do they watch it? You've got various different doctors that are in these different categories that actually are servicing the patients. Okay? And it goes on and on and on and on. Then we talk about, personal protective equipment, what you need, how you put it on, why do you put it on the way you put it on, how do you take it off so you know how to take the stuff off and you're not getting yourself reinfected. Okay? And all, just all of this. Okay, so, and then we come down here to the questions. Here's the directions, on how to be able to use different applications, like for a bactericidal, and so on and so forth, and then taking the evaluation. And then you're able to know right there online if you passed, which we're assuming you did because you've got a lot of good information there. And then you get a certificate, which declares that you are certified in COVID-19. And other than that, as new changes come up, like you saw today, now we got releases. Now there's a lot of other things that we've added. Education. When we have something that we think is going to be new and different and good for you, we'll announce the next one. It may be next week. It may be in 2 weeks. I think maybe next week because we'll have more information, but we will definitely keep you informed. God bless all of you. Keep up the good work and make sure you're utilizing your app because we got to pay the bills. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks, everyone.